What if I told you that everything you've been told about confidence is false? Yes, that fake it till you make it is nonsense that only keeps you stuck. You have to understand that confidence is not a magical trait available to only a few. It's a skill that most of us misinterpret. Confidence is cultivated, but here's the rub. You'll never get it unless you start doing certain things. And believe me, some of them will be uncomfortable. Ready to get real? So let's get started. First, stop comparing yourself to others. Yes, it's going to hurt. Because I know you do it. We all do it. Comparing ourselves to others is the dumbest game there is. Nobody wins. I sympathize with you. You start to think, what have I accomplished? Believe me, I've been there. Spending hours on social media, watching people who seem to be living their best version, while I was still in my pajamas, eating cold pizza, and feeling like a failure. But what's not being told is that all of that is a lie. No one shares their moments of exhaustion, their doubts, or insecurities. They only show their best, and you end up comparing their moments of glory with the behind the scenes of your own life. It's absurd to collate your work week with their Saturday night. They are totally different things. If this is your first time on my channel, I'd appreciate it if you'd subscribe, and like the video. That way I can continue to create more similar content in the future. Comparing yourself to others destroys your confidence. You run your own race, not theirs. And if you spend all your time looking the other way, you will stumble. The only valid comparison is with yourself. Be someone better than you were last week, or last month. I, too, wasted years trying to match those I considered more successful. Friends with seemingly ideal jobs, perfect lives, or strangers, who seemed to have it all figured out. Only when I stopped chasing their definition of success, and focused on my course, did I begin to experience genuine confidence. You will never be them. You are you, and that is your strength. Your path is unique, and no one else can walk it for you. Besides, if all else fails, remember that most people don't even think that much of you. They're too busy with their own problems to notice yours. So stop wasting your time chasing an imaginary standard that doesn't really exist. When you stop comparing yourself, you begin to feel peace with who you are. And from that peace, confidence emerges. It's not about being the best, it's about being the best version of yourself. The next time you catch yourself making comparisons, stop and remind yourself, I'm running my race, and it's the only one really worth winning. Second, get the toxic people out of your life. I'll be honest. You need to get the toxic people out of your life. And before you justify yourself, let's be clear. You know exactly who I'm talking about. That friend, family member, any colleague who drains your energy, makes you doubt yourself, or generates constant negativity. But you keep them around out of guilt, because you've known them all your life. I'm sorry, but that's no excuse for allowing them to stand in your way of the fulfillment and security you deserve. I used to want to please everyone. Fix them. Make them happy. It never worked. Every time I ended up exhausted. Like my life had been sucked out of me. They didn't celebrate my victories. They complained about everything. And somehow, they always made me feel guilty for their problems. At a certain point, I understood that these people were toxic, and no amount of good vibes would change that. This is where the discomfort starts. Yes, we were taught that family should be forgiven for everything, because blood outweighs water. But your peace of mind outweighs the guilt that your toxic relative tries to assign to you. I had a friend, let's call him Mike. And we were close for years. However, after every encounter with him, I would end up exhausted. He would patronize me. He would make me think I was overreacting or that I should do more to support him. One day, I realized that he was the problem. I hadn't done anything. I simply changed, and he couldn't tolerate it. I made the painful decision to stop talking to him, and believe me, it was like a huge weight off my shoulders. You can say goodbye subtly, but you have to set boundaries with people who contribute nothing good to your life. If they persist in violating those boundaries, it's time to nip them in the bud. Your environment impacts you more than you realize, including the people you associate with. If you surround yourself with negative or toxic people, that energy will seep into your mind, whether you like it or not. It is impossible to strengthen your confidence if you live with those who always make you feel less, or doubt your value. Trust thrives in a healthy, supportive environment, not a toxic one. Walking away from harmful people is difficult and painful. And you may think you are the villain of the story, but you are not responsible for solving other people's problems. But if you are responsible for keeping your peace of mind, when you do, you realize how much easier it is to be happy and trust yourself. I felt it when I walked away from those who were hurting me. I had more energy to focus on my goals, my joy, and my growth. It was like breathing again. And yes, it may be a controversial point, but sometimes the healthiest thing for your confidence is to grab a pair of scissors and cut out toxic relationships. Life is too short to be burdened with friendships, which are only a burden. Third, surround yourself with people who will lift you up instead of dragging you down. Believe me, you'll thank me later. And remember, this is not cruelty or heartlessness, it's self-respect. It's about understanding that your time, your energy, and your peace of mind deserve protection. The more you prioritize yourself, the greater your confidence will be. This is how you build a life where the protagonist is you, not others. So if there's a Mike in your life, or someone who constantly makes you feel bad, you know what to do. Now, everyone is entitled to an opinion. This point may make some people uncomfortable too. But let's speak up. You need to speak up. And before you say, "I don't want conflict," or "I don't like confrontation," stop. Silence is not a virtue. You think that by remaining silent you avoid problems. But in truth you annul yourself so that others feel comfortable. That is not confidence. It is self-sabotage. I know what you mean. I was also a specialist in keeping silent, in meetings. I would nod like a dummy, even if I had doubts or different ideas. I thought it would make me look calm, but, in reality, it hurt me. No one will guess what you think, if you don't say it out loud. It's time to disprove the belief that you should keep quiet so as not to stir the waters. Sometimes, it is necessary to stir the waters. Confidence is not about keeping everything quiet, but about being genuine. Even if your opinion makes someone uneasy, if you don't speak up, you become invisible. And that makes your ideas, and needs, no longer matter. It's like going to a party and standing in the corner waiting for someone to invite you to chat. It won't happen, unless you provoke it yourself. I remember when I finally dared to speak up at an important work meeting. Everyone agreed on a plan, but I knew it wouldn't work. I hesitated to express myself for fear of sounding foolish. However, my inner voice was screaming that I could not stand still. Finally I commented, "I don't think this is the best strategy." There was a silence that made me wish I could disappear. But, after those uncomfortable moments, the meeting took a turn, and people began to ask me questions. In the end, we changed the direction of the project and it went better. It turned out that if I didn't speak up, it hurt me, and the others. Expressing yourself is not just about you, but about providing value to others. When you speak out, you encourage people to think differently, to question the status quo, and to see things from a different perspective. Your voice is important, even if you are wrong. If you always hide it, you deprive the world of your experience. If you are wrong, nothing happens. It's part of the process, and that's confidence. Knowing that you can handle the mistake. At least you're in the game. Collaborating, something you can never do by keeping quiet. Here's a secret. Those who dare to speak up, even at the risk of being wrong, usually earn more respect than those who remain silent. Why? Because they show they believe in their own ideas enough to share them in public. That's already confidence. Even if you face uncomfortable moments, or fear, criticism, expressing yourself also implies self-respect. Believing that your thoughts, emotions, and opinions deserve to be heard. If you don't stand up for yourself, who will? Confidence is not waiting for someone to give you permission to speak up, but affirming that your opinion matters too. So the next time you find yourself in a social situation, and you want to participate, don't overthink it. Say what you feel, and do it with confidence. Whether you're right, wrong, or somewhere in the middle, at least you had the courage to share your perspective. Half the people may be thinking, wow, I was thinking the same thing, but I couldn't bring myself to say it. When you express yourself, you do the rest a favor. It's time to stop being a background character in your story, and take the microphone. You deserve that moment of glory. Fourth, be prepared to fail. And it won't be once or twice, but many times. I'm talking about the big falls, those moments when you ask yourself, what am I doing with my life? But here's the secret. It's not just that you're going to fail. You need to fail. You won't develop confidence without having tasted failure. So, be prepared to be wrong, because that's where true confidence comes from. I know that doesn't sound pleasant, because no one loves the idea of screwing something up. But if you have so much failure, you'll never do anything momentous enough to change your life. You'll stay in familiar territory, sticking to what you've already mastered. And in the comfort zone, there is no growth. Confidence is not built by avoiding falls, but by getting up after them. And every time you get up, you remind yourself, I am capable of dealing with this. Before, I was so afraid of failing that I wouldn't try anything new. If I wasn't 99% sure of succeeding, it was a lousy way to live. Trapped in my own little bubble. Watching others take risks, and move forward, while wondering why I wasn't making progress. Of course, I experienced a major setback, in a project I had full confidence in. It failed completely. I felt humiliated, devastated, and wished to disappear. But, surprise! I was still alive. The world did not end and I was not struck by lightning. I understood that failure liberates because, once it has happened, the fear of it vanishes. And endurance improved. No one mentions it, but failure is like weight training. You get stronger when you push your limits. Maybe I'll lose some here, but I'll say it. If you're not failing, you're not trying hard enough. Got that right? If your life goes by with easy wins, and a comfortable path, you're probably playing it safe. It's not a merit to say I've never failed. Deep down, it reflects a fear of growing. Failure not only allows you to learn from your mistakes, it also shows you that you can overcome. And that's true confidence, the confidence that comes from realizing that failure doesn't destroy you. It makes you stronger. Consider legendary figures. Steve Jobs was fired from Apple, the company he founded. Oprah was fired from her first TV job. J.K. Rowling received 12 rejections before Harry Potter became a worldwide phenomenon. All of them built their confidence by overcoming failures, and coming back even stronger. If they had given up, today we wouldn't have Apple, or the Oprah Show, or the Harry Potter universe. In my personal case, I invested all my effort, time, and savings in a project thinking it would conquer the world. But it failed miserably. I went back to live with my parents. I felt desperate and like a real loser. In time, I realized that this fall had taught me more than any success. Perseverance, ingenuity, and above all, that I can get back on my feet after falling. Once you've hit rock bottom, you stop being afraid of the possibility of falling back down. And that's what's relevant. Failures don't define you. They make you stronger, they take away your ego, the obsession for perfection, and the fear of being judged. Every stumble is a stepping stone, not a dead end. The more you fail, the more you learn. And with it you develop a resilience that is the foundation of authentic confidence. Another, often controversial, truth. You need to surround yourself with people who have your back. It may sound like a motivational poster phrase, but it's crucial, as many get this wrong. Those who secretly want you to fail, or keep you stuck are no good to you. You need a team that supports you, demands you, and above all, believes in you. The problem is that sometimes those who you considered your closest friends are not really your closest friends. If those close to you don't celebrate your achievements, don't push you to excel, or aren't sincere when you cheat yourself, then they are not helping you, but holding you back. And this is not always in plain sight. Sometimes it's subtle details, like a double-meaning compliment, or someone's awkward silence when they hear your goals. It's a red flag. If someone doesn't know how to handle your progress, question whether they should stay in your life. I'll share something personal. I had a friend, let's call her Sarah. We were very close for years, but I noticed that every time I achieved something important, Sarah reacted with indifference, or minimized it. When I mentioned a new opportunity, she would respond with a passive-aggressive tone, as if she couldn't stand my growth. At first I thought he was doing it out of concern, but the more he kept repeating himself, the more it became clear that deep down, he did not want my advancement. And that's the point. If they don't push you, ask yourself why they're still there. This goes for friends, and even family. We were all instilled with loyalty. But when it's blind, and to people who bring you nothing, it becomes a form of self-destruction disguised as virtue. You don't owe your time and energy to anyone who makes you feel small. When I started setting boundaries, and hanging out less with those who didn't support my growth, it was weird, and uncomfortable. I was afraid of coming across as selfish. But as I stepped away, my direction became clearer, and that new space was filled by the right people. The ones who did want me to succeed. Supported me when I was down, and pushed me when I seemed to let my guard down. Finding your support group is like switching from an old bicycle to a sports car. Suddenly, everything goes faster, without friction and with fun. You need people who believe that anything is possible. Not those who silently expect you to stay where you are so they don't feel bad about their own inaction. You've heard that you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, right? How does it look around you? Do your friends inspire you or wear you down? Do they push you forward or hold you back? If it's the latter, you need to make a determination. Yes, you may need to clean up your social circle, if they don't bring you joy or help you progress. It's time to let them go. You'll find that by surrounding yourself with those who truly support you, your life takes on a different hue. And it's not just about being applauded. It's about building a network of trust, accountability, and evolution. Those who truly love you will point out your mistakes, and remind you of your value. They will give you a jolt from time to time, but they will also urge you not to give up when the going gets tough. The 5th point, I want you to figure it out. Dare to act without fear, or meet the right people. I leave it up to you, to stay tuned and make the most of this video. That's what it's all about. Confidence is not built in isolation, but with the support of those around you. If you live surrounded by negativity, envy, or people who hold you back from success, you will end up getting infected. It happened to me. When I started to distance myself from those who did not support me, it was hard. There was a lot of guilt involved. But then people came along who celebrated my achievements and motivated me to aim higher. For the first time, I stopped doubting myself so much, because I had a reliable base that reminded me of who I am, and how much I am worth. Especially when I was forgetting it myself. Let's speak frankly. Having good friends makes your life more fun. You don't get caught up in negativity or uncertainty. You feel more clarity and go through life with a permanent smile. It's like being in an elevated state. Like, we can handle this. And this energy is contagious. When you are with people who believe in you, you also believe in yourself more, and your security is no longer fragile and in need of constant approval. It becomes a firm conviction that no one can take away from you. So, do yourself a favor. Go out and find the people who encourage you, and inspire you. Life is too short to waste it in an environment that doesn't help you grow. And if you need help, I'll be here to support you. Now get out there. Show the world your greatness. Dare to take bold steps. And don't be afraid of big stumbles. If you liked this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you very much for making it this far. And remember, happiness is personal, and see you in the next video.